Welcome to the Pachehra Talks. Today we are going to explore Azure Front Door. The very first thing we need to understand what it is and what problem it is solving. And then we'll straight jump into the security aspect of Azure Front Door. So let's start with the very basic question, what it is, why we use it. Well, I have created this diagram just to help you understand what exactly it does. In this diagram, if you see, we have region 1 right here. We have region 2, and there is an application hosted maybe in virtual machine or app service. It doesn't matter, it should have the public IP. Uh, and then this is the Microsoft backbone global network, and these are the POPs or the edge network or the edge locations, not network, edge locations, right? Uh, just to understand. So if we have a situation where we have an application running in multiple region and we need to load balance the application on layer 7, okay, then we have to choose front door because there is no other service like this. Just like application gateway does it regionally, it takes care globally. All right. So you could say it has all those features that application gateway provides plus more, and that more is CDN. That's the reason Microsoft says it is modern CDN or content delivery network. So it has features, all those features that application gateway has, like URL path-based routing, session affinity, multi-site routing, and since it is also load balancing between the regions. So we have those routing rules like the priority wise or the weightage wise. It can also takes care of the latency. For example, if the priority is one for the both, and it will send the request to the one which has less latency. Even if the priority weightage is like 50-50%, it can choose where the less latency is, it will send the request to that region. All right. So, how exactly it takes care of it? We will understand all those points. First, we need to understand what it is. As of now, I hope it makes sense a little bit. It is a L7 global load balancer, a smart load balancer. It has all those features that application gateway provides, along with the content delivery network. So, it's a modern CDN. So because of all these things, it provides fast, reliable, and secure access between users and your applications. Uh, Now, the best part is we have why I mentioned these POPs or edge locations, because whenever request comes to the front door, it quickly sends requests to the one which is the nearest to this request, that edge allocation, for example this one, then it will get into the Microsoft global backbone network and quickly reach to the region where it's supposed to be landed as per the routing rule described here. So it is not going over the internet, it is just getting inside the Microsoft private network or global network as quickly as possible, which is the nearest edge location. So if that's what it is doing, so it means it is fast because it is running on global network, which is actually private network of Microsoft, and it is secure because that's what Microsoft do. They have all the secure networks for their customers, and it is reliable. So that's why that's what it does, right? All right. So along with this, if the first request goes there, everything is stored in this Agile location as well. So if the second computer or second user request, it will get the request from here only. No need to go and land here because it is also CDN. So super fast performance. All right. Now what we can decide. Okay, I have to highlight here as well. So it is a fast, reliable, and secure access between user and the application's dynamic and static content across the globe. Okay, now what we can say, it is a smart load balancer because it works on layer 7, so it knows what is going on, because everything going on the layer 7. So it can read the content and accordingly divert the content into the right backend pool like URL or multi-site. So it's a smart load balancer like application gateway, and serves all features of app gateway on global level along with CDN, which enhance the performance and lower the latency. Now the this thing that it was sending request to the edge location, this thing it is doing on the basis of this function called anycast. Okay, when we create the Azure front door, we provide that information. That endpoint information goes to all the edge locations of the Microsoft, so that whenever the request comes to the front door, it will simply send request to that particular edge location. We'll go through the entire flow, traffic flow for front door from user request to the backend pool, and that will make more sense. Now, now we have understand a good idea what it is. So let's quickly go through the some interesting features of Azure Front Door. For example, as you are keep on saying, so that we can quickly revise at the end. Global HTTP load balancing and acceleration. Why acceleration? Because of Anycast. Because of Anycast, which I have already explained. Anycast, it goes inside the global network, since it is accelerated. And also, there is one more thing that I should mention here, which is split TCP. So implement this particular front door implements split TCP connection to optimize latency and throughput between client and the application backend. We'll talk deep about these Anycast and split uh, TCP in maybe our next video. But for now, we are just focusing upon what it is, what are the features, and then we'll dive into the security aspect of it, because we are covering the security specialist series. The second thing is, because as I said, app gateway, so it also has the SSL offloading capability. So it handles SSL termination at the edge closer to users, which reduces latency again and offloads the backend servers from having to perform this compute intensive task. And we have that option that it will only accept like SSL, so it will also help in security. This is one of the feature, SSL offloading. Then we have path-based routing, as we said. We already covered this in our application gateway video. Uh, then it also have this instant global failover. Why? For example, this simple example that we have created, region 2 and region 1. If region 1 goes down, it will start sending the request to the region 2, right? And now it has also this URL rewrite and session affinity. You already know what is session affinity. If the request goes to this particular VM, then again it will, when it will try to access again, it will again go to the same VM. It creates that affinity with that particular session. And URL rewrite modifies the path of a request as it passes through the front door, facilitating the mapping of a public URL to a different backend URL without changing the structure of the backend. And finally, one which is most important is web application firewall. We have already seen in the previous video, when we were creating the web application policies, we are creating for front end or app gateway. So it also supports WAF. Then we mentioned CDN. So of course, it has the functionality of caching and compression. And it also has this functionality of health probe. And what is health probe? By which it will know which of the backend pool is ready to take the request. So it sends regular health probes to backend resources to monitor their availability and responsiveness. This ensures the traffic is only routed to the healthy instances. And it can also, you can also customize the routing rules. Supports highly customizable routing rules that can handle complex scenarios based on the requirements of the application, including match conditions and route conditions. And finally, it has a seamless integration with the Azure services such as Azure Monitor or for the detailed logging and diagnostics, and MS Defender for enhanced security management or posture management. All right, so you can see a lot of them are the app gateway feature, as I said. So just to revise it, now let's talk about some use case. Or like Azure Front Door is ideally suited for scenarios involving global global distribution of web content. Okay, uh, that could be a secure e-commerce platform, multi-region microservices architecture. These could be the use cases we can mention here. uh, E-commerce platforms globally secure. And another example that came into the mind was multi-region microservices architecture, because it it also does this path-based routing. In microservice architecture, it is like path-based routing, right? Uh, any application requiring high availability, fast and secure delivery of content. So that's your choice. That could be another use case. So, in summary, Azure Front Door provides a comprehensive solution for managing global traffic and protecting web applications, making it an essential component for enterprise looking to enhance their application delivery and security posture on a global scale. So it is, again, it is not mandatory that you should have the application running globally, like in multi-region. If you even have a application running in a single region, but your user base is global, again, this can help you because it works on any cast. And this particular feature where it will send request to one of the edge, and from the back end it will receive here. See, low latency, high performance, and secure. You can have still you can have all those features through front door. All right. So let's try to see the traffic flow. As I said, traffic flow. Now, let's suppose this user, this is a client, and user, this is a client. Now, user initiate the request. So, a user from any part of the world, okay, any part of the world, say US, initiates a request to access the application. The request might be for a web page or API or some static content like images. So the first thing will happen, the request will go to the, not to the front door directly, but there must be something in between, which is, any guesses? DNS. DNS resolution is something which is must. Okay. All right. So request goes here first to the DNS. The user's DNS query resolves the application URL to the IP address of the nearest Azure Front Door edge location. Now, Azure Front Door uses the Anycast protocol, which means the same IP address is advertised from multiple points of POP. So when we create this front door, so this IP address, this information will publish to all the POPs. So when it goes to DNS, it sends the request here, then it will send to the nearest edge location, whichever is the nearest, because it has a default latency programming as well, so which is less, like very near, so less latency, directly proportional to distance. Less distance, low latency. All right, so the user request routed to the nearest Azure Front Door edge location. This is determined on the basis of factors like network latency, geography, and availability. Health probe is there, right? So, for example, a user in New York would have their request handled by an edge server located in the east coast of the US. It's clear, like that's how it works, right? Now, if the application is configured out to use SSL, Azure Front Door can terminate SSL connection at the edge node here. Okay, because it is getting inside the Microsoft global network, which is secure. Okay, and you can have end-to-end encryption as well. So this means that the SSL handshake and decryption happens at the edge closest to the user rather than at the backend server in India. Let's suppose this is running in India. Okay, so this reduces the encryption overhead on the backend server and speed up the overall response time. Now, we also mentioned content caching, right? So if the request is for static content for AFD or Azure Front Door has previously cached here, Then this content can be served directly from the edge node to the user. Then it will go directly to here, not from the DNS, but directly from here. Okay. All right. Now, this drastically reduces latency and offloads traffic from the backend server, the caching stuff of Azure location. Now, if the content is not in the cache or if the request is for dynamic content, Azure Front Door performs smart routing, even though the backend is located in a single region. For example, let's say it's a single region, India. There is no right now. This is no only this, as I said at the beginning. So Front Door evaluates the fastest route across Microsoft global network. Okay, to relay the request to the backend server because it from the Azure location, it will get inside the Microsoft backbone or global network. So it will find the fastest route to the India. Even this guy is in US. So it will still faster than going over the internet. Okay, the request travels from the edge node across Microsoft's global network to the backend server in India. The global network is optimized for speed and reliability, ensuring rapid transit across continents. Once the backend process the request, the response is sent back to the user along the reverse path. It travels from the backend server in India through Microsoft's global network at the other location from which it is quickly delivered back to the user. So that's how this uh, traffic flows. Now let's quickly check few things. What are the benefits? Global reach with local performance. Second, enhanced security because SSL termination at the edge enhances security by ensuring encrypted transmission over the internet. Additionally, the built-in WAF protects against common web exploits and attacks. And FD has this auto scalability feature just like App Gateway, and it is reducing the backend load for because it's offloading SSL. So these are some benefits that we can think from this particular scenario. Now, if we need to quickly dive into the security aspect of the uh, Azure Front Door, which has few of the features that we already know, like WAF, right? So Azure Front Door includes WAF that is crucial for protecting application against web-based vulnerabilities like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, and other exploits. It supports both manage rule, custom rule because it comes into the standard and premium two SKUs. The premium one supports the custom rule and bot protection. We already talked about these. It is almost the same thing, nothing different as we seen in the previous video. Then we have another security thing, which is DDoS protection. Why? Because Azure Front Door inherently provides DDoS protection by leveraging Microsoft's massive network structure, global network, which can absorb large volumes of network traffic during DDoS attacks, and Microsoft protects their own infrastructure with the DDoS service. So Azure's global network can scale to absorb the high traffic of a DDoS attack and scrub malicious traffic, ensuring the only legitimate traffic reaches the application. Then the third point is SSL, we could say, but from the security perspective, because Azure Front Door terminates SSL connection at the edge locations closer to users, which reduce latency and offloads cryptographic workload from the backend servers and manages and automates the encryption decryption process, ensuring secure connections without additional overhead on your servers, centralized management of encryption keys, certs, and it can also do the end-to-end encryption just like App Gateway. Then finally, content protection. All right, so because Azure Front Door provides features to secure and control access to content, for example, URL path-based routing, control access to different parts of your application based on URL paths, which can isolate and protect sensitive areas of your application. It also provide you geo-filtering, okay, which means block or allows traffic based on geographical location, which can be used to comply with legal restrictions or to mitigate geographically specific threats. And of course, Azure Front Door allows you for the creation of sophisticated routing rules that enhance security, like session affinity and health probes are there. So these are some security aspect of Front Door. Now, uh, I think I did mention it comes with the standard and premium feature. Premium has all those premium features, right? So you can choose accordingly. Now, apart from this, when we create Azure front door, the very first thing we create the profile. This profile is nothing but but more like a uh, information regarding the domain, pricing, SKUs, and all. And then we create our endpoint. Endpoint is the endpoint where the request DNS will divert the request to. It's the endpoint of front door. And then we have to provide the information of origin. Origin is your backend host. You can create your rules and add multiple origin here as well. So these things we do. We have already created video. It could be a old one, but we'll try to create new one. But the main idea of this security series is this: we learn all these things because it is better to know what the resource is, why we use it, then we talk about the functionality. Or maybe we can cover the steps during our administration series or architecture series. Let's see. uh, Maybe you can comment if you would like to know how to actually configure it. But this is more towards the security aspect of all the Azure services so that you can have that kind of conversation with your customers. So I think that's all about it. Well, thank you for watching, and you guys are